Welcome to the Vault Excel. Hope you all are well. Once again, prayers for Morgan County, Tennessee, where a tornado touched down. Two people have been claimed deceased. Today is Super Bowl in America. Please be safe wherever you are venturing out. And if you decide to drink, please have a designated driver. Um, just be careful out there. This is a two-part live pertaining to Megan Boswell and Puffy. Sean Puffy Combs. Let's get down to business, everybody. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $BigAngie129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are welcome during the live stream. I'm not specifically rooting for anyone um, for the Super Bowl because I don't watch the NFL like I used to. I'm more of a college football fan, but may the best team win.
Hi everyone, Lauren Levitt here, reporter at WBIR, covering the Megan Boswell murder trial. She's the Sullivan County mom accused of killing her one-year-old daughter back in 2019. Today was day 4 of trial, and we learned a lot of information from several investigators who worked on that case back in 2019. Many of them testified that they knew that Boswell was lying, or at least keeping information from them at that time, but they wanted to believe that she would have her daughter's best interests at heart. I want to start off with the biggest piece of information that we learned today. A former TBI agent was questioned about an apartment application dated January 4th, 2020. On that application was the name Hunter Wood. That was Megan Boswell's boyfriend at the time, and it listed that 3 residents would be staying at that apartment. Now, you would assume those 3 residents would be Boswell, Wood, and her daughter, Evelyn, but when the investigator asked who that third person was on that application, Boswell told him that was going to be her unborn child, as she was pregnant at the time.
Was it verified that Megan was pregnant when she was arrested? Very interesting. So she didn't claim her daughter as a tenant on the application. Stay woke now. But we learned she's lied about her daughter, where she is. So now this guy has applied for an apartment. And yet she claims she tells the authorities, oh, it's going to be he, myself, and an unborn baby. So I guess she was claiming that Hunter was the father of the baby. This girl is just diabolical. Lord have mercy.
He then asked her where Evelyn would be staying, and she said that her boyfriend Wood did not want Evelyn living with them. He asked where Evelyn would be staying, and she said that she did not know. She did not have an answer for that question.
Let me interject here. Don't you find it interesting that she's lied so much to these people, but yet when they ask her about this apartment application, who's all going to be on the lease, this is where she tells them she don't know where her daughter's going to stay. Oh, okay, because the boyfriend didn't want the child there, which we already know that's more than likely that's a lie as well. This girl is just, the fact that you can be this age, 18, 19, and spin such sinister lies tells me what I've always said about pathological liars. They start young, they live in an imaginary world, and 9 times out of 10, Megan lived in an imaginary world. She didn't like her life. She was probably lying as a young person. And when she decided to unalive her child, the lies began. Worse, let's say worse. But I won't doubt she was lying before she ever murdered her child.
Other testimony that we heard today furthered the prosecution's opening statement, where they said that Boswell had killed her child in order to live this new, better life with her new boyfriend. Investigators said that Boswell seemed detached and emotionless in several of their interviews, and she never mentioned having any concern or worries about her daughter, her well-being, or her safety. In one interview, Boswell could be heard saying that she needed a break. A former TBI agent said that Boswell was worn out by Evelyn, saying that they were attached at the hip. He also stated that she indicated Evelyn was becoming too much for her to handle. Investigators also wondered why Boswell would give her child to someone that she described as being an uninvolved father. We heard yesterday that Ethan Perry was not Evelyn's father, but Boswell told everyone that he was and that he had her daughter. She claimed...
Very good point. Why would you give your child to someone who is uninvolved? That's a very good question from authorities. Well, when you're tired of your child, you don't care who gets your child, okay? And if he was the father or not the father, you just be glad to have somebody step in. But we already know this is a ruse. She's already murdered the kid. So she's just, going on this fishing expedition with authorities. I think she knows that at that point, when they were interviewing her, that they knew that she was lying and that they were just waiting for her to confess. And it's just really disturbing to have a person just go round and round and round in an interview, and they're implicating everybody, the mother and her boyfriend, Ethan Perry, who we now learn was not the father. She eventually turned on Hunter, the same person who's being nice to her and riding her around, taking her places because her car got repoed. So you see, it was a barrage of people, and even implicated her father in an indirect way by saying, oh, you can go over to the property and check over there. Check where exactly, Megan? And sadly, and unfortunately, the child was found on Tommy Boswell's property in a shed, child stuffed in a garbage can, plastic bag. Stuffed in a garbage can, as they said, just rammed down in a garbage can, possibly head first, head wrapped in foil. This heifer is something else. But she comes from what I call trashy people. And as I've said before, you can change your life if you want, but you have to want to change. So once again, who's the father of the child? Have they come to a conclusion to who the biological father is, since Ethan is not the father? And I'm assuming they did a DNA test on the remains of baby Evelyn against Mr. Ethan Perry, and that is how they learned he is not the biological father. What a way to find out you're not the father of a child. The child is dead and they test the remains. Lord have mercy.
That she had cared for Evelyn for a year, and now it was Perry's turn. She said that he gave her no support, no help, and now it was his turn to learn what it was like to raise a child without any help. She said the last time that she saw her daughter was the day after Christmas back in 2019. She said that she had attempted to contact Perry again to figure out where her daughter was and to potentially see her again, but investigators said that she never went back to Perry's grandparents' house, which is where she had dropped her daughter off, to go try to see if she could get her daughter back. Instead, she was seen going on trips with her new boyfriend, Hunter Wood. We also heard testimony of Boswell's story changing. In an interview with a former captain at the sheriff's office, she instead placed blame on her mother, Angela Boswell. Boswell said that her father had told her that he had talked to her mother, and Angela had told him that if this whole story came out, she was going to be going to jail. Boswell said that Angela claimed she would have to go on the run, that her mother and Perry were communicating during this time, and that she could potentially have Boswell's child instead of Perry. Both Perry and Angela were cleared during that investigation.
So you see here, she blamed her mother. She claimed the mother had the child, boyfriend had the child in Mendota, Virginia. I believe it was at an RV park where nobody was there. Literally nobody was, I believe, at the RV park. So you see, it was just one lie after the other. Then now you have an implication about the grandparents' home. The child was over here, over there with the mother, with Ethan. Then, she, like I said, implicated the boyfriend at the end. She rolled over on the baby and suffocated the baby by mistake, and he took the baby out. This girl has no respect for life. The fact that she could just throw all these people under the bus. And now this young man, Ethan Perry, is in a mental facility in Virginia. They said the father testified in court that he's been there the past 2 months. I'm also wondering, what was he doing before he went into the facility? Was he navigating? Was he living at home? Was he working, going to school? Or could this have been a last-ditch attempt to go into the facility so he wouldn't have to testify? I thought about that yesterday. Did the young man get admitted into the facility so he didn't have to testify because the father stated to the attorney he was not in any shape to testify. Very interesting information.
There's more testimony online you can check out on our website, WBIR, and we will continue to update you as this trial progresses, both online and on TV as soon as possible. And we will also try to continue giving you these nightly recaps. Trial resumes on Monday, and we'll have more for you then.
All right, so Monday, court will resume. I'm going to recap more from day 3 and 4, which was Friday and Saturday. Today is Sunday. Happy Super Bowl to everyone. Once again, please be safe on your travels today while out. Please get a designated driver if you decide to drink. Okay, we're going to go back. Okay, and recap Friday and Saturday. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the Vault Excel. Megan Boswell is accused of murdering her child, Evelyn Boswell, and trying to cover up her death. The case gained statewide and national attention February 2020 when investigators began a weeks-long Amber Alert search for the toddler before finding her remains inside a trash can on family property. On Friday, several people were called to the stand, including a representative from the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office and friends and family of Megan Boswell, Hunter Wood, and Ethan Perry. The validity of text messages shown in court was also questioned by the defense. And yes, the defense asked for a mistrial because the prosecutions took some of those texts out of range and transferred them over, I guess, another day. And they felt like they should have showed them in their entirety, frame by frame, and the judge denied the mistrial. Judge Goodwin told the court the nature of the charges, the notoriety of the case, and the safety of the jury were the reasons he decided to isolate the jury for the duration of the trial. So, if you did not know, the jury has been sequestered. They are not to talk to anyone, outsider, social media, cell phone, or have TV access. I don't know how that's working inside their hotel rooms. I have yet to hear that they've taken away their TVs and phones, but that is the recommendation for this sequestered jury. Now, previously, trial 3, day 3. Steve Williams has been called to the stand. Steve Williams, formerly employed with the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office as the Lieutenant of Criminal Investigations, took the stand Saturday morning. So we're going back. Williams expressed that Boswell had never asked for an attorney, but that if something happened, she wanted one. Williams claimed that Boswell had been Mirandized, but not by him, and that he does not know who Mirandized her. Williams and Boswell shared that the last time she saw her daughter Evelyn was right after Christmas at the home of the grandfather, Evelyn's father, Ethan. Joseph Strickler, the victim witness coordinator at the 2nd District Attorney General's Office and former captain of criminal investigations at the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office, was called to the stand. Strickler said his role at the Sheriff's Office was administrative and included helping out with resource and manpower efforts. A recorded interview was shared with the court of Strickler's meeting with Boswell on February 20th, 2020, 2 days after Evelyn was reported missing. Strickler met Boswell twice that day for one-on-one interviews. In the first interview, Megan shared that she had initially planned for her boyfriend, Hunter, to come pick her up, but asked for her mother to come and get her instead. She also said that an officer she was with had been accused of domestic assault, and she wanted to have that information confirmed because she didn't want to be around them. So is it true that an officer who was on the case had been accused of domestic assault? Curious about that. Strickler explained, with the details of the case, there was a possibility that Megan would be blamed. God forbid if something bad happened to this baby, Strickler said in that interview. Everyone's going to point the finger at you. It was shared that Evelyn had broken her arm. Megan claimed that she only knew that her daughter's arm had been bruised, but had, one second, jumping off here, everybody. She said she hadn't seen it broken. Megan said that Evelyn's bruised arm was due to falling off the bed at Ethan's. So don't tell me this heifer broke her baby's arm. Wow, wow, wow. A broken arm of a baby, a 15-month-old at that. She said she dropped Evelyn off on Christmas and saw her briefly the next day. At that time, Megan said she had moved out of the trailer park she'd been living in and then moved in with Wood. She said that she generally did not bring Evelyn around Wood, and she had only known him for a couple of weeks. So this goes back to my commentary. When did she unalive the girl child? I think she unalived the child either before or after she moved out of the trailer, and her father had put her out of it because she was unclean. And you will see video footage, pictures, excuse me, in court of how bad that trailer looked. It was in disarray. It was just filthy and disgusting. So feel free to go back to my previous video pertaining to uh, the guy who cleaned the trailer out, who testified because he was going to go live there, and in exchange for him living there, he had to clean he would be the maintenance worker on the property of trailers, plus live in that said trailer where she was put out of. The trailer was horrible looking, just despicable. Okay, so we hear that the baby fell out of the bed. She said she dropped the baby off Christmas and saw her briefly the next day. She's moved out of the trailer, and she said she couldn't take the child to Wood because he only had known her for a couple of weeks and she didn't want to have the baby around him, or he didn't want a baby. But my thing is, I think the baby was already dead. Strickler assured Megan that the department's priority was to locate the baby. I pray to the good Lord above that we're going to find her alive, Strickler told her. The worst thing I ever had to deal with is a dead child. Strickler asked her why she had not contacted. One second, everybody. This screen keeps jumping off. Strickler asked her why she had not contacted Perry's family after Christmas while he had Evelyn. Megan said she was trying to resolve things just between them, which we now know that's a lie. They never had the kid. She denied ever hurting Evelyn and said she did not believe Wood or Perry hurt Evelyn either. The jury was dismissed for a 10-minute recess. Now we go to the second interview by Mr. Strickler with Megan. A second interview was shown to the court of Strickler's meeting with Megan. Again, after that, she had a conversation with her father, Tommy Boswell Sr., that pointed blame toward her mother, Angel. Mom said, when all this story comes out, she's going to jail, Megan said. She said Boswell Sr. told Angel he was sending Department of Child Services representatives to check on Evelyn. Megan then claimed she would have to run away and not return. So when the father called the Department of Human Services on Megan, where was she staying at this point? Because we learned she stayed with Ethan's family and father briefly. The child was not there. She also stayed 4 nights in a hotel. So where was the father going to send the Department of Human Services? Did he know she was staying with Ethan's father? You know what I'm saying, to send them over there to his home. So obviously now we have the mother involved, allegedly, and she's saying they're going to come after you for the disappearance of your child. And she's saying she would have to run away and not return. Was she going to try to run away or just continue lying? Curious. Strickler asked Megan, one second, everybody, if she loved her daughter, who assured her that she did and that she just wanted to get her back. I don't care one bit about putting anybody in jail or anything. I want her back. We can work things out. We just have to get her back, Strickler said. Megan said that Angel and her boyfriend tried to take her to Mendota on February 19th, the day after her daughter was reported missing. She says they would not tell her where they were going, but a rest stop on their way, which we, this is just crazy, which we've learned all this is a lie, okay? She was headed in the direction of Mendota, Virginia. Megan claimed that her father kept saying that Angel knew something and that she had spoken with Ethan. Megan said she gave Evelyn to Perry on Christmas Eve, dropping her off before going on a trip with Wood and her family. Now, did the mother ever talk to Ethan or anybody else? Is this conversation even true? Did Angel even talk to the father, her ex-husband? So you don't know what to believe because Megan is a liar. She returned on Christmas Day to bring presents to Evelyn at Perry's grandparents' house. He made her stand outside. She shared that Wood rode over with her but didn't get out of the car. So why would he make her stand outside? What's the purpose of inviting you to someone's house, but you stood outside? But see, all this is just strange to me. Strickler asked why she didn't try to get her daughter from him when she saw her. Megan said See, this is why we know this is a lie, because my understanding is that Ethan was the one that picked her up from the college parking lot, remember? So now here you have a different version saying she shared that Wood, now this is the new boyfriend or friend, rode over with her but didn't get out of the car. Strickler asked why she didn't get her daughter from him when she saw her, which we know that's a lie too, because she never saw her because they never had the kid. This girl is, I mean, the lies are just endless. She said she held Evelyn for a minute before her daughter started reaching for Perry, and that was why she didn't take her back. However, Megan also shared she wanted a break. So see, she's just all over the place. She said she saw Evelyn again the day after Christmas on December 26th in the back seat of Ethan's car. She claimed he told her to leave or he would call the police, which we already know that's a lie too. She's made all that up. Lord have mercy, this is crazy. She claimed Perry would not let her come over on New Year's Day. However, Megan's mother told her that she had spoken with him. She advised her daughter to try to resolve things with Perry. So see, this doesn't make any sense. She said Megan's mother told her she had spoken with him. Well, if the mother spoke with him, wouldn't he have told her, I don't have the kid? If the mother would say, oh, well, hey, I want to see the kid, blah, 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 then wouldn't he say in return, well, I don't have the kid. The kid's not with me. So then they say she said she advised her daughter to try to resolve things with Perry. See, all this is BS. Megan shared that her parents are divorced and she lived with her father until April 2018 before moving in with her grandmother from April through October. So what happened with the grandmother? What happened with her grandmother? Why couldn't she stay with the grandmother? Probably because she didn't keep a clean damn house and wasn't trying to mind her child. She said she then moved in a trailer owned by her family and stayed at a hotel for a few nights in between. So now we have information that she lived with the grandmother from April to October. She lived on the Boswell property. She kept it unclean and the father put her out. This is why I believe this is why she killed her kid. She knew she was homeless. She didn't have anywhere to go. She had to bebop around in hotels. Then she ended up hooking up with Ethan. And we learned that she started dating Ethan, or was a good friend, or however you want to word it. His father said in court, he started giving her rides because her car got repoed. And he never saw the kid either. So this would lead you to believe she killed the kid before she started working at that chicken shack. Okay? So she had probably killed the kid either before the father put her out of that trailer or right after he put her out. And then she snuck over there to his property and put that kid in a plastic bag with trash, head wrapped in foil, and then just left the baby in the shed. She's cold. So she said she moved into the trailer owned by her family and stayed at a hotel a few nights. They do have verification that she stayed at a motel for 4 separate times, and each was just for one night. Former Federal Bureau of Investigation Supervisory Senior Resident Agent Jeff Blanton was called to the stand. Blanton previously supervised the Safe Street Task Force 2019, a group involved in combating crimes against children. Blanton shared that during his interview, Megan seemed matter of fact, unattached to the gravity of trying to locate the child, and completely unemotional, aside from when she was told she could be charged with lying if what she said was not true. It was later confirmed that she was not truthful in that interview. So I do believe that was her initial charge that got her arrested, is that she was lying about the whereabouts of her child. David Gratz has now been called to the stand. Attorney and former Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Special Agent, Criminal Investigation. Oh, Lord have mercy. Hold on one second, everybody. Lost my place. He was called to the stand. In the investigation, Gratz was assigned as a TBI case agent. Gratz was asked to gather facts and circumstances of Evelyn. An Amber Alert was issued for Evelyn on the evening of February 19, 2020, with information on Evelyn provided by Megan. Gratz said that he spoke to local agencies and tried to get as much information as possible, working with the sheriff's office, TBI, and FBI. On February 19th, Gratz went to Megan's trailer to meet Austin Feller, a previous witness in the trial. Now, this is the guy who gave information about cleaning up the trailer in order to stay there. Gratz learned that some of her property was left there at the trailer park while looking for any signs of disturbed dirt or signs that Evelyn was still there. A stroller was found in the shed next to the trailer and taken as evidence. Megan shared with Gratz that she last saw Evelyn December 26th at Ethan Perry's grandparents' house, who told her that Ethan worked full-time. Wait 1 second. In the military on base in Louisiana. Gratz said law enforcement had already talked with Ethan and learned and cleared Ethan of having Evelyn. So see, these are things she doesn't know. But by now she should be getting a glimpse. They know that she's. So Ethan at this point has been cleared of having a child. And she should have known that if he was in the military, how would he have the child? This girl is just, it's just a lunatic. Okay. Boswell said she had been living with Hunter, but that he had not been around Evelyn at that point. Megan and Evelyn had never stayed at Hunter's house. Megan claimed that she had reached out to Ethan a few times, but was never worried about Evelyn or her safety. At this point, the jury has recessed. New evidence introduced. Sergeant Matt Price interviewed Megan on both the 20th and the 21st of February. Before that interview, he said some of her property was collected from Hunter Wood's house with Boswell's consent. Okay? Very interesting. Evidence collected from Hunter Wood's residence was shown in court. Evidence included a Polaroid picture taken at Blowing Rock in North Carolina, brochures that Boswell said were from a trip she and Hunter took, photos of Megan and Hunter, a card titled Thinking of You with Love with Maggie and Hunter's names on it. Additional evidence discovered included 2 photos of Evelyn, 1 photo of Evelyn and Megan, an Olive Garden receipt from January 11th, and Evelyn's shirt found in a baby box. Items were pulled from Megan's memory box one by one and identified. Megan was previously asked to identify each item and detail its significance. David Gratz describes finding Evelyn's body. David Gratz, a former special agent criminal investigator with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, was called to the stand, where he discussed photos taken during the process of searching some property owned by Tommy Boswell. Gratz and Tommy gave permission for law enforcement to search the property. Gratz said he and law enforcement approached a shed while searching the property, where they found a trash can and a trash bag that appeared to be out of place. The former agent on the stand said those items appeared out of place because they were not covered by the dirt and spider webs, unlike other items inside. Law enforcement pulled out the trash can and a black trash bag. Gratz said at first they noticed what looked like flesh similar to an elbow and were hit by the smell of human decomposition. The agents then pulled out the items inside the trash bag. Gratz said when he first saw it, he thought it might have been a baby doll. And he said it had a shine to it. It was not a baby doll. He said that it was immediately apparent that it was not a toy, it was Evelyn's body. Agents then called other law enforcement and a regional forensic center. Law enforcement removed the trash bag and the trash bin, taking out the items on the scene. Gratz said the trash bag had been packed down in the can as well. This is the body of Evelyn Boswell. Wow, wow, wow. He said when describing one photo, he said the body was found in with a blanket and still wearing an outfit with aluminum foil around Evelyn's head. Food debris was also found in the trash bag, Gratz said on the stand. He also said a piece of gum was also found on the side of the trash can. The foil was collected and sent to the TBI in Knoxville before being sent again to Nashville, Gratz said. Evelyn's body was taken to a forensic center in Johnson City for an autopsy where her identity was confirmed. Wow, 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 wow. Damn, man. Oh, wow. That's, there are no words. There are no words for what I just read. So, in this commentary that I just brought to you, it shows that she was using and implicating a lot of different people as having the child. First, it was the child was out of town or with Ethan. Then he had her. Then it was the grandparents. Then it was her mother and boyfriend. Then they went to search for them in North Carolina. They didn't have the child. Then she implicates the new friend boyfriend that he took her out after she rolled over on the baby. But we learned that wasn't true. They also said she appeared detached. She said the child had become too much to handle, to deal with. You hear her telling investigators that it was time for the father to step up and take care of the child, Ethan Perry. But then we learned Ethan was not even the biological father. Imagine that. So when did they do a DNA test on Ethan Perry to determine he was not the father? I'm assuming it was after they found the remains of the baby girl. Let's go to Saturday. Numerous pieces of evidence were shown to the jury in Megan Boswell's murder trial yesterday. All of the witnesses called by the state Saturday were either current or previous members of law enforcement. Each witness had interviewed Megan at some point during the search for her daughter, Evelyn, in February of 2020. Megan faces 19 charges in Evelyn's death, including first-degree murder, 2 counts of felony murder. Saturday marked the 4th day of trial, which has seen hundreds of pieces of evidence and testimony from a dozen witnesses so far. Saturday's proceedings were dominated by recordings of Megan speaking with police after Evelyn was reported missing. In the first few recordings, Megan repeatedly tells investigators that Evelyn is with Ethan Perry, who was previously thought to be Evelyn's biological father, which we now know he is not the father. Megan told Steve Williams, the former lieutenant of criminal investigations at the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office, in an interview that she left Evelyn with Perry on Christmas and wanted him to understand what raising her was like. And honestly, like I was telling them, like I had Evelyn for like over a year and he never checked on her. And I had to support her by myself, Megan told Williams in the recording. So when he got up here, I was like, you can take care of your daughter for a little bit. Not that I don't love my daughter and want to be with her. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, you don't help me at all. Like, I want you to see how it feels to have no help. At another point, she indicated to Williams that she wanted a break as a mom. My mom had a baby when I was like 12, 13. I don't remember. Sheldon's 13, so I guess I was 12. And like I basically had to when I was 15. Like I've had to basically raise her. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I had 3 kids all the time. And I was like, it's his kid. If he wants to keep her for a little bit, like by all means, you know what I mean? I'm all for it. And like I said, it's not that I don't love Evelyn. I want to be with her, but it's just what I mean. Oh my gosh, that's all she says. Like. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? No, they don't know what you mean. What they do know is that you were lying. Megan told Williams she had not been worried about Evelyn being with her supposed father and enjoyed having a break. I just thought she wanted to be there, Megan said in the interview. I didn't want to take her. And honestly, I just wanted a break. That's all I wanted. Former FBI investigator Jeff Blanton told the court that Megan relayed a similar story to him about needing a break and wanting Perry to step up. He claimed Megan told him Evelyn was just getting too much to handle. As the interviews with other investigators progressed, Megan started to tell a different story. In an interview with former Tennessee Bureau of Investigation agent David Grant, she began telling them she thought her mother, Angela Boswell, had Evelyn. After a period of time, the defendant told us that her mother, in fact, had Evelyn Boswell, Gratz said. Gratz informed the jury that law enforcement did locate Angela and her boyfriend in North Carolina, but like Perry, they did not have Evelyn, and there was nothing to lead them to believe Evelyn had ever been with them. Now, naturally, when this story was unfolding, I was questioning everybody myself because I didn't know who to believe. I didn't know what was going on. But once I saw her interviews, I knew she was lying, and I knew she was behind the disappearance of her child. According to Grass, Megan then began to encourage police to search in Mendota, Virginia. She was talking about forming a search party to go to an area she kept referring to as Mendota, and she was asking about whether she would be or whether there would be any issues with tampering with evidence, Gratz said. Now, this is the interview where I knew she was lying because she was smiling when she was talking to the camera, and she was saying, I'll go there myself if I have to. And I knew at that point she was lying about this little girl. He confirmed that law enforcement searched Mendota thoroughly but found no traces of Evelyn. In addition to showing and reviewing police interviews, prosecutors also presented several new pieces of evidence. Those included a stroller left behind at Megan's former trailer, photos of aluminum foil that was wrapped around Evelyn's head when she was found dead, and items found in Megan's possession at her ex-boyfriend's home. Let me ask this. Megan, why did you wrap the baby's head in aluminum foil? Please tell me why. What was the point? You're already throwing her in the damn garbage can. You didn't even think that somebody would even go in that shed and find her. She was going to start smelling you, dodo bird. So what the hell was foil going to stop? Nothing. This girl is a lunatic. Gratz identified several of those possessions as a baby shark blanket, a shirt of Evelyn's, a memory box, several photos of Megan and her ex-boyfriend, Hunter Wood. An application for residence at an apartment complex was also shown to the jury. The application stated 3 people would be living there. However, Gratz said Megan told him that Evelyn was not one of them. Megan and Wood had applied to live at the apartment, okay? But she claimed the third person was her unborn child that she was pregnant with. When asked by prosecutors why Megan did not plan on having Evelyn live with them, Gratz shared her answer. She told us that it was not Evelyn because Hunter would not or did not want Evelyn to live with him. Gratz was still on the stand when court ended Saturday and will likely resume his testimony on Monday morning. Wow, wow, wow. She's just lied about everything. Just everything. Everything. And that was the blanket in court. The investigator showed. Now, what significance this blanket had, I don't know if they found it at Ethan's house or at the trailer or wherever, but it just goes to show you this girl lied about just about everything except her damn government name. And it's a shame. So once again, was she pregnant when she was arrested? That's what I would like to know. She ran out of people to implicate to say they had the baby. Ethan's grandparents, Hunter, her mom, her mom's boyfriend, dad, grandmama, whomever. She's running out of people. She was running out of people. And now you see where lying can get you. Nowhere. Handcuffs. Incarcerated. Then you go to trial. What will the 12 members of the jury decide? What do they think so far of the evidence pertaining to Megan Boswell, the evidence pertaining to Evelyn? Evelyn didn't appear to have a chance, snowball chance in hell of survival. She's like many children. The parents decide they don't want the kid for whatever reason, then they unalive the kid or neglect the kid. She was better off just giving the kid up for adoption, going somewhere, moving on with her life. You know, she had a troubled life, so I didn't expect her to be, you know, the greatest person to have a kid. And then you hear her now, you know, in testimony, she was stuck with those other children that her mother kept spitting out like Skittles. Mother was just a baby-making machine. Obviously, she had a lot of children. Mother was known to be a drug addict as well. She and the father both were violent. So Megan saw a lot growing up, and then she ended up becoming a babysitter. So I get it. She got pregnant. She didn't really want to be, bothered with a kid. But the point is, you did have the kid. You should have used birth control. Probably nobody taught her about birth control. She became overwhelmed with having the kid. She flaked out and she killed her kid. I'd like to know the timeline of when she unalived her child, because I believe she unalived the child either still at the trailer or when the father kicked her out, and then she doubled back and put the kid in that trash can. And that's still cold-blooded. That's still cold-blooded to put that child, to kill the child and then put her in a trash can and put her on the property of your father's property. She's calculated. She's cold, she's heartless, she has no empathy. She's sick. And she had to have known at some point, okay, they know I'm lying. So that's why she has to keep coming up with different excuses of where the child was. The child's over here, the child's over here. First the child's in Louisiana. Now the child's with the step-grandparents in Tennessee. Oh, now the child's with my mother. Now the child's at a RV park in Mendota, Virginia. See, she's just all over the place. I'm surprised she didn't lie on her grandmother and say her grandmother had the child. And at the end, she implicated Ethan as taking the child and disposing of the body after allegedly she rolled over on the baby and the baby suffocated. She implicated him and she implicated her own father. Oh, you might find the baby or find her over there at my dad's. Yeah. Well, that is where they found her. Stuffed in a trash can with foil wrapped around her head, in a trash can with other debris or trash. Like they said, didn't even try to hide the damn garbage can. And I said that before in my previous video. She didn't even try to hide the damn garbage can because it was just like leaning up against debris, not even standing upright, not even standing straight on the floor. And I'm sure they had mice and rats crawling around in there because it looked like, I saw rat droppings, what I think was rat droppings or something black was all over the items in the shed. She's disgusting to me because she could have bowed out a better way than this. She could have asked somebody for help. She could have asked somebody. The last guy she dated, his mom testified. Why didn't she ask her for help? I think she stayed with her a night or two. Why didn't you ask her for help? Hey, ma'am, could you help me with my kid? Keep my kid? Adopt my kid? Something. Or just place the baby at adoption agency. But she knew eventually she'd want to lollygag around town and people would start talking. Where's your baby? Where's your baby? Because, people talk. Small town USA. They're going to wonder, where's the kid? So somebody's going to call the state on her. It's just the way it is. And that's exactly what happened. Sean Puffy Combs, second part of this live stream. Welcome to the Vault Excel. New information of new accusers. Male accuser who was a musician, up-and-coming musician, or an attempt to becoming a musician. We're going to hear that information. Somebody got dangled over a balcony. Let's go to Court TV, everybody, and hear what they have to say about these new allegations pertaining to Sean Puffy Combs. Lord have mercy. More nonsense. We live in a diabolical world, I tell you. I can't even keep up with the people now because so many people have been filing accusations and civil lawsuits. I can't keep up.
Mentioned Combs has been charged with RICO conspiracy. He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates to get his way.
The sex trafficking case against defendant Sean Diddy Combs is what's trending in true crime. The superseding indictment filed Thursday doesn't contain new charges, but it is filled with new accusations of criminal behavior, including claims that at least 3 women were forced to engage in commercial sex acts, and that Combs on one occasion dangled a victim over a balcony for threatening his authority. That's the allegation. Now, the statement was issued on behalf of Combs by his attorney, Mark Agnafila, saying in part, the prosecution's theory remains flawed. The government has added the ridiculous theory that 2 of Mr. Combs' former girlfriends were not girlfriends at all, but were prostitutes. The statement goes on to say Mr. Combs is as committed as ever to fighting these charges and winning at trial. Okay, so the defense doesn't seem too concerned, but we got a different indictment now, slightly different. So how is that going to change things at trial? Let's bring in our legal eagles now. With me, attorneys Don Malarsic and David Bruno. Good morning to you both. Don, let me start with you, please. How do you
So the defense is trying to say they were prostitutes, huh? Go back. Hold on a minute. This is crazy. Jesus Christ.
Trial. Let's bring in our legal eagles now. With me, attorneys Don. and winning at trial. Okay, so the defense doesn't seem too concerned, but we got a different indictment. Were prostitutes. The statement goes on to say Mr. Combs is as committed. Mark Agnafil is saying in part, the prosecution's theory remains flawed. The government has added the ridiculous theory that two of Mr. Combs' former girlfriends were not girlfriends at all, but were prostitutes. The statement goes on to say Mr. Combs is as committed as ever to fighting these charges and winning at trial. Okay, so the defense doesn't seem too concerned, but we got a different indictment now. Slightly different. So how is that going to change things at trial? Let's bring in our legal leaders now. With me, attorneys Don Milarczyk and David Bruno. Good morning to you both. Don, let me start with you, please. How do you think this is going to affect things?
Well, you see these superseding indictments as the government's case progresses, and usually it's a telltale sign that somebody is cooperating, right? Somebody has decided to flip, to resolve their case and cooperate against Mr. Combs. The government then goes back and they adjust the indictment. They add details that they know that they can prove through credible, reliable evidence and cooperators. So this is a tough sign for Mr. Combs and his defense. I suspect that as people get involved in this case and they become targets and defendants and they meet with their defense lawyers, they're trying to get a way out. And their way out is offering cooperation and testimony against Mr. Combs. And it feels like that's exactly what's happening here.
Sure does. Great insight, Don. David Bruno, to you next. Your thoughts, please.
Yeah, I agree. Also, look, the soundbite of the U.S. attorney also started with, Combs didn't do this on his own, which is a telltale sign of cooperators. I'm wondering, when's the ball going to drop to everybody else? Is he the only one? No. We know that from the statement. We know this from the reporting. We know this from the civil complaints. Why in the world is it just Combs? You know what also this doesn't have is the witness tampering, which I'm a little bit surprised of, because we were getting reports about the jail correspondence and the use of that attorney file that allegedly was attorney-client privilege, and there was word of a grand jury on that. So it looks like maybe that ship has sailed. But with this, it also expands the time. It brings the conspiracy back 4 years, the racketeering back 4 years, and also adds other facts to support the racketeering. So what it really does is it expands the scope of relevant evidence. And that's going to be one of the jobs of the defense attorney, is with motions to try to bring it back in. And the statement we got from the defense attorney was, well, these were girlfriends. These were not prostitutes, and it does require commercial sex acts for value, and also the force, coercion, or threats of force to cause the victims to engage in the commercial sex acts. So I think that's where the defense is going to be coming to try to rein it in, while the government is also trying to expand the evidence that they're able to present.
Right. Great points, David. And thank you for noting that about the time frame expanding. In the first indictment, it was 2008 when the government was saying it all began. But then in this new superseding indictment, they're going back to 2004, as you noted. So thank you much for that. We'll leave it here for now, but we'll continue the conversation about Diddy as this case progresses. Both sides saying it should stay on track for the May trial date in Court TV. We'll be.
All right, we're going to stop there. Basically, what she's speaking of, because I was getting confused, who's on first and who's on second. I had to go to another source. This was dated February 4th, okay? Combs insists his girlfriends were misunderstood as prostitutes in the new indictment. So this is a superseding indictment. There are no new charges against Sean, but they have more information added on to the original indictment. So no new charges, just more information added on to the indictment. Sean denies sex trafficking allegations, claiming accusers were his girlfriends. He pleaded not guilty to the charges and is currently in jail. Now, most of you know what the RICO charges consist of. RICO means there's other people involved. It has to be more than one in order for it to even be considered a RICO charges. So who are the other people? Because so far the only person that's been arrested is Sean Puffy Combs. So is this an issue of other people have come in, they have been questioned, maybe they were also indicted, and they have decided to flip on Puffy, and they will be witnesses at the trial So they won't be co-conspirators, but they will be witnesses. So he's claiming with this new superseding indictment information, these girls weren't prostitutes. They were girls that I was dating. They were girlfriends rather than sex workers. So these are the charges against him. Sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. And this is when he got arrested in September. He's at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. And there are so many people now bringing forward charges you can't even keep up, civil suits rather. And it says in a new indictment filed on January 30th, prosecutors claim that Combs willfully caused the transportation of female victims, including but not limited to victim 1, victim 2, and victim 3, and commercial sex workers in interstate and foreign commerce on multiple occasions. So now we're people have been added to the superseding indictment. Now we also have an allegation from a young man who's claiming sexual abuse and coercion by him at an after party in, I believe it was Los Angeles. I'm going to bring you that same commentary. It says, the former music mogul has been accused of engaging in persistent, pervasive pattern of abuse toward women, which allegedly included verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual abuse. Combs manipulated women to participate in orchestrated performance of sexual activity. At times, Combs and others acting at his direction, made arrangements for women and commercial sex workers to fly to Combs' location. This is by Radar Online. Combs ensured participation from the women by, among other things, obtaining and distributing narcotics to them, controlling their careers, leveraging his financial support and threatening to cut off the same, and using intimidation and violence. Notably, Combs was transported to the hospital in the middle of the night. This is new information. Following his most recent indictment, sources revealed that he underwent an MRI around 10 p.m. on Thursday, January 30th, due to knee pain. Now, it's allegations that he ran a marathon many moons ago, and he's had different continued problems, rather, with the knee, and that he's also had maybe 4 surgeries in a 2-year span. Don't know if all that information is true or not, but that's just something I read the other day. His attorney, Mr. Agnifilo, has disputed these allegations and claims. He says the prosecution's theory remains flawed. The government has added the ridiculous theory that 2 of Mr. Combs' former girlfriends were not his girlfriends at all, but were prostitutes. He also noted that the filing contains no new offenses and reaffirmed Mr. Combs is as committed as ever to fighting these charges and winning at trial. Well, in the end, it's going to be a matter of who testifies they have against Sean Puffy Combs. As you know, Ms. Ventura is the catalyst to this indictment and arrest. So these are allegations coming from her originally, and now with this superseding indictment, we now have other people in tow to bring forward information and allegations against Sean, but there are no new charges. So just letting you know that. Now, we have heard in this information he dangled someone over a balcony. What was the reasoning for that? What was the reasoning for dangling this person over a balcony? See, there's so many allegations you can't even keep up. You know, you got this one, that one, sugar mama, sugarfoot, he, they, children, men, boys. I can't keep up. I'm starting to lose count because you're talking about 125, 150 new people who have contacted this lawyer in Texas. And the indictments, these civil suits just keep coming around day for day, day for day. You can't even keep up. Feel free to go to my community page. I've got a lot of content shared pertaining to Sean Puffy Combs. And here's the full interview. They reposted it pertaining to the woman. Her name is Ashley Parham. She's decided to reveal herself. This is the full interview of her allegations against him where she was allegedly gang raped raped by different people, and people watched So check that out. That's News Nation. And now we're going to hear about the musician who's claiming also to have been sexually assaulted at an after party. He went to perform for a well-known person as an opening act, and he was led to the back room, and there was a lot of drugs, sex, and he claims he was sexually assaulted by Sean Puffy Combs. Law and Crime is the source, everybody. Lord have mercy, help me. Oh, I'm running out of breath. Because as I said, it's just nonstop. It's just so sad. All these allegations, I mean, you can't even keep up with them because it's just one after the other.
Attorney Tony Busby. Now, Busby made his mission clear back in October that his firm plans to file more than 100 lawsuits against the disgraced mogul. But now he's in a rush to meet a March 1st deadline. Why? Because that's the last day the law in New York allows victims of past sexual assaults file civil lawsuits despite the statute of limitations being up. So let's break down the latest allegations. Now, we have to mention these accusers did not use their real names in the court filings. Instead, they are referred to as Jane or John Doe. In John Doe's complaint, he alleges he was drugged and sexually assaulted at an after party in Los Angeles in 2015. So what happened? According to the complaint, John Doe was a music performer and pursuing a career as a rapper and singer. At the time, he secured an opportunity to perform as an opener for an unnamed popular artist at QC's 2020 in LA. According to the filing, Diddy was there because his record company had interest in the show. Before the performance, John Doe claims an associate of Diddy's told him that if he performed well, they would discuss getting him a deal with Bad Boy Records and arrange studio time between him and Diddy. So John Doe performed a set. He later went to an after party at the same venue, which according to the complaint took place in the back rooms of a club which had breakout rooms. John Doe says a lot of artists and entertainers were there. Drugs were taken, drinks were flowing. A switch happened.
Let me ask this. What is a breakout room? I've never heard of such. Anybody in the chat know? Feel free to put it in the chat. Oh, Lord have mercy.
According to the complaint, an associate of Diddy's handed him a drink that was said to be from Diddy. After, John Doe became lightheaded. He was slipping in and out of consciousness, and Doe knew something was wrong. After he realized he was drugged, he lost consciousness. But while drifting in and out of consciousness, Doe says he saw Diddy and his entourage engaging in group sexual activity, where allegedly other attendees appeared drugged, unconscious, or as if they were paid escorts. Doe says at one point he regained consciousness after finding Diddy grabbing his crotch while his pants were already removed. He claims Diddy groped him and believed he performed oral sex on him. Now, Doe says he tried to fight off Diddy, but then Diddy's security team stepped in. Now, Diddy allegedly threatened Doe, telling him he could easily get in contact with his manager and ruin any chance he had of succeeding in the industry if he didn't comply. The complaint says Doe was terrified and realized he was outnumbered by Diddy's security.
So, before we finish that, a breakout room means are a great option for meetings where you want to have close collaboration, small group discussions, okay? They say they are split off from the original meeting and allow participants to collaborate in smaller groups. This enable to engage, manage, conversations. This is very interesting. So I guess at the back of this venue where he was performing as an opening act for another well-known person, don't know who that well-known person is, they had, separate rooms where you can meet and talk, but eventually it was a room for sex and drugs, and this is where he claims he was drugged by a drink and sexually assaulted by Sean Puffy Combs.
He pretended to comply for his own safety. Doe claims Diddy then ordered him to have sex with a woman he didn't know while Diddy watched. So Doe says he pretended to agree. He says he made an excuse he needed water and to use the bathroom before having sex. Then Diddy's security team let him go to the bathroom, but instead John Doe snuck out of the venue, went to the parking lot, jumped in his car, and drove off. Now Doe says because of Diddy's power and notoriety, he didn't immediately...
Brief intermission, everybody. YouTube got to get their funds. Oh, Lord have mercy. So he was able to get away, went to the bathroom. So I guess he was able to pull up his pants to go to the bathroom, but he left out. Snuck out and went to his car.
Report what happened because he didn't want to be blackballed in the industry. Then we have another suit, this one filed on Tuesday by a Jane Doe. Now, she claims Diddy drugged her and forced her to have sex with other people while he watched. This allegedly happened back in the 90s. It's unclear what year. The complaint just states in the 90s. Jane Doe attended a private party in New York City that was being hosted by none other than Diddy, who was likely going by...
So before we get into this allegation of the 90s party function, this 2000 up-and-coming performer, who's a guy, he says he engaged him in sex with another woman he wanted to watch, but then he got drugged because he was given a drink by Diddy, and then he came to with him groping his crotch and doing whatever. Bodyguards or whomever intervened to try to subdue him, I guess, keep him from, I guess, wilding out or whatever. This is all crazy to me. I don't know if this is true or not. So you just don't really know what to believe. I do believe Sean is a sadist. Let me make that clear for people who don't follow this network and haven't watched my content. I do believe he's a sadist. I believe he has assaulted a lot of people, boys, girls, women, and men. I don't doubt that. I believe he's filmed them. Let me make that clear. I believe he's filmed people. I believe he's kept a record of it. I believe he's also drugged people. I do believe other people have been involved in sex capades, prostitutes, whomever. I also believe some were probably regular people who engaged, movie stars, famous people, regular people. I do believe other people helped lure other people to his nest for these parties, functions, hotels. And to me, you're dirty and you're disgusting, because the fact that you're helping a man sexual assault and rape and drug other men and women and children, your ass is nasty and you need to go down with him. I don't think nobody needs to keep getting a pass that aids this type of behavior. This shit's got to stop. These other people, they just can't get a pass. Go to court, testify, oh, give them a free ride. You're aiding rape and drugging a person. And we've heard the horrible things that happen when people are drugged. I see people right now who have been allegedly drugged and they're walking around here like fucking zombies. And I'm just like, damn, one time they took some drugs and now they're mentally incapacitated. So I guess it depends on what the hell's in the drug. So then you got to ask that question. How many people have taken drugs from Sean Puffy Combs either willingly or in a drink, and they're now walking around here like a damn zombie, mentally defunct. They don't act normal anymore. You know, maybe they're disabled, living at home with a parent or friend or somebody, or on their own. This shit is deep. And it's obvious he's sick, because when he got arrested back in September, there was a woman in the hotel room and there was pink powder found in baggies. Check out that video I made a week ago. Pink powder found in baggies. So he knew when he came to New York, he was going to be arrested. That's why he moved back to New York from Miami. And this shows you he does not care about his own fucking life. That you are in a room with a woman, making sure to get your freak on before you get arrested, and then you've got drugs in bags, plural. Pink powder, they said. I believe it was fentanyl or something. Do you understand what I'm saying? He doesn't care. And around this time last year, same thing. He knew he was being investigated, January 2024. He still was calling people, trying to, I guess, get information to see what they knew, what they were telling. Contacted one witness 58 times. January 2024. He doesn't care. Still was having freak-offs around this time last year, knowing he was being investigated. Now you have more allegations, 3 new accusers, plus this male claiming sexual assault, drugging.
By Puff or Puffy at the time. Now, during that party, Jane Doe says she believed there were a lot of gang members at the party, so she felt unsafe and she wanted to leave. But she said Diddy didn't allow her to. Now, Jane Doe claims from here, Diddy made it clear that she would be forced to participate in group sexual activity that was happening at the party, but also that she felt like she was being drugged. Doe claims Diddy forced her to participate in the group sex with not only him, but other people at the party. And this isn't the only alleged sexual assault this Jane Doe is claiming against Diddy. She says another sexual assault happened after a party at a nightclub in the late 90s called Limelight. Again, no specific date was mentioned in this complaint, only alleging that it happened in the late 90s. Now, during this alleged incident, Jane Doe claims she was with several friends. Guests were partying on all 5 floors of the club, but the 2 top floors were occupied.
Let's go back. Is this the same person or another person?
Sexual assault happened after a party at a nightclub being drugged. Doe claims Diddy forced her to participate in the group sex with not only him, but other people at the party. And this isn't the only alleged sexual assault this Jane Doe is claiming against Diddy. She says another sexual assault.
Okay, right there I have a problem. Ting, 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 ting. See, you don't remember the date. You've been sexually assaulted by him. Number one, time number one. Now we're getting ready to go into time number two. That's why I was backtracking to make sure I'm hearing what I think I'm hearing. How are you going to be in the same situation twice with Sean Puffy Combs? Make it make sense. Because we learned that about the other accuser out in California. You alleging sexual improprieties by him, but then you're allegedly talking to him or talking to him on the phone thereafter, or some type of dealings, or met up with him again. See, this doesn't make any sense. And people are going to question the validity of your claim if you went back in to talk to him, deal with him, or go back around him. So now you're getting information. She can't even give you a date, 91, 92, 93, 94. Now we're getting ready to go into a second incident with Sean Puffy Combs. This doesn't make any sense. And nobody's going to believe this bullshit, even if it happened. You know what they're going to say? Well, if it's true, you went back. You willingly went back around a person that allegedly raped you and drugged you before. Why would you go back around them? So see, this is bullshit. Like I said, I believe some of the allegations, but this one right here don't make no sense. You had no business going back around him. If you even went somewhere and saw Sean, you should have ran like hell.
Assault happened after a party at a nightclub in the late 90s called Limelight. Again, no specific date was mentioned in this complaint, only alleging that it happened in the late 90s. Now, during this alleged incident, Jane Doe claimed she was with several friends. Guests were partying on all 5 floors of the club, but the 2 top floors were occupied by group sex parties. Very 90s, I guess. So Jane Doe says she was dating Diddy's security guard at the time of this party. Doe says she and the security guard got into an argument during the party. Diddy intervened and told her to go to a back room and wait. Then the security guard entered the room and slapped Jane Doe in the face. Now, according to the complaint, she feared for her life, but felt no choice but to stay in the situation. She claims Diddy detained her and her friend until early the next morning, until they were taken to the Trump Hotel in Midtown Manhattan. When they got there, Doe claims that they were taken to the penthouse, put in a room with a security guard who allegedly physically and sexually assaulted her while Diddy watched. Now, Jane Doe claims she and her friend were then forced to take what she believed was ecstasy, and both women were forced to engage in group sex that she didn't want to participate in. Then after several more hours, Diddy finally let her and her friend leave the hotel. Now, on the same day this Jane Doe filed her complaint, another Jane Doe filed her own. Now, this Jane Doe claims she was offered $2,000 to serve as a bottle service girl at one of Diddy's parties. Then she was given a laced drink and allegedly raped by Diddy's associate at Diddy's direction. She claims in 1997 she was at a party at Diddy's home in the Hamptons, and a friend of hers told her she could earn money working as a bottle girl at the party. Jane Doe claims she was provided a black dress.
Brief intermission. So I'm just trying to keep up with all these new allegations. As I said, if you went around him a second time, there's something wrong with you, because I wouldn't go back around him, and nobody's going to believe your first allegation if you went back around him. Even if you went to a place and you didn't know Sean was going to be there, if he popped up, your best recourse would have been to run like hell. Get the hell out of there.
Was told to wait in a separate room before she could come out to the main party. While she and the others waited, Diddy came into the room and encouraged everyone to drink from the coolers. Jane Doe claims after one drink, she started feeling woozy, slipping in and out of consciousness. But she remembered seeing Diddy's male associates, who she claimed sexually assaulted
like a woman
and
right
raped her
there
at Diddy's direction while he was there. Doe says she recalls seeing Diddy naked at one point and witnessed another man sodomizing him. Now, this Jane Doe believes her rape may have been videotaped. She says she reached out to Diddy to delete the video, but he refused.
Did you hear that? She witnessed another man sodomizing Sean Puffy Combs, which I think most of you know what that means. Another man was performing oral sex on him allegedly. This is her account. So there are many people bringing forward allegations of homosexuality. Has that been the ruse for Sean? He's always known that he was gay, and he used women as a buffer. Using women as a buffer to get more women, to get more men. He really don't like women. I think he's very highly sexual. I think he's sexually charged. I do believe that. I think he has a problem with sex. He has a problem with alcohol. He has a problem with drugs. He has a problem with control. He wants to control people. This is his method. Drugging them, filming them, blackmailing them, talking down to them, berating them, physical violence. He's a sadist. So that's why he belongs where he is. And I think a lot of people didn't come forward because they knew what would happen. They're in the industry. They don't want people talking about them, gossiping. But he doesn't give a fuck about anybody anyway, because we learned that he was sharing tapes of people, passing them around with his homeboys. He don't care. He don't care. He knew that would ruin a person. People start talking. Hey, I saw a tape of you. Hey, I saw a tape of you. He doesn't care. He's disgusting to me. And when you look back at these older pictures, you can see a feminine guy. See, sometimes you have to go back in time and relook at things. I didn't hang with Puff Daddy. You know what I'm saying? I didn't keep up with what everybody was doing back in the 90s or the 2000s in the industry. You know, there's always gossip about what people are doing, but I didn't keep up with the Source magazine and all this old he said, she said, and Wendy Williams and all that old shit. But the point is, if you go back and look at all these pictures they keep showing, I can see a feminine guy now. What do they say? Hindsight is 20/20? Indeed.
Refused. From this complaint, it looks like the two Jane Does I mentioned in this story, their allegations are seemingly connected. This Jane Doe claims another assault happened in the late 90s at the Limelight nightclub. Then she and her friend were taken to the Trump Hotel and allegedly were forced to participate in the group's sex activity. And it's the same scenario as the other Jane Doe. Now, Diddy, through his attorneys, denied these allegations. In a statement, they said, quote, "As we said before, Mr. Combs cannot respond to every new publicity stunt, even in response to claims that are facially ridiculous or demonstrably false. Mr. Combs and his legal team have full confidence in the facts and the integrity of the judicial process. In court, the truth will prevail that Mr. Combs never sexually assaulted or trafficked anyone, man or woman, adult or minor." I'm joined now by criminal defense attorney Safa Robinson Ferrer. Safa, always great to see you. Now, Tony Busby's law.
Well, let me ask you all this question. 10 more minutes left in this commentary. Law and Crime is the source. Do you believe the new allegations penned against Puffy of this male musician who was assaulted in a back room of a venue where he had performed as a opener for somebody who's in the business? They have not revealed who that person is that he was an opening act for, but Sean was there. That's what was told to him. Hey, come on out, do your gig. If you're good, maybe he'll sign you, blah, blah, blah. So that's how this allegation came about. Allegedly, this meetup that led to sexual assault, drugging. Do you believe this allegation? And then these other allegations of these three new females. Do you also believe these allegations? It just goes on and on and on. We're going from 2015, 18, the 90s. One can't remember what year it was. And it's just like, oh, I can remember the name of the club, but I can't remember the year. Oh, Lord have mercy. It's just unbelievable.
His law firm has filed more suits against Diddy. What's your reaction? A lot of these claims are terrible. Non-consensual group sexual activity, allegations of rape by Diddy's associates at Diddy's direction. Then in the John Doe case, allegations of being drugged and sexually assaulted by Diddy. What's your reaction to this new batch of lawsuits?
Lord, just imagine people who had sex with him. Famous, non-famous. I won't doubt that some people came up short, and that's what I'm waiting to hear next, because we heard that with R. Kelly. Finally, one girl finally told she contracted herpes from him, and so common sense will tell you anybody that had sex there after her, they also have herpes too. So that means who's going to come forward until they've caught something from Sean Puffy Combs? That's a disease you can't get rid of. You see where I'm going with this. That's what you're going to hear next. That's what's going on. Somebody has gotten syphilis, herpes, HIV, full-blown AIDS. It's on its way. And that's what you all should be talking about while you're talking about all these damn civil suits. Is this man HIV positive? Because we now know he likes men. Oh, Jesus, help me.
These new batch of lawsuits aren't surprised, or they're not a surprise to me. These lawsuits essentially echo what we have heard in the past, the allegations that have been pled in the past, and other lawsuits by other attorneys, including Mr. Busby himself, which is that Mr. Combs engaged in sexual activity or violent sexual activity towards, Jane or John Doe's or specific individuals, and also that, these individuals may have been drugged. They may have engaged in sexual acts with other people against their will. So this is not a surprise. This is consistent. all the way around with the previous lawsuits we've heard about. It also echoes some of the information that we know, or possible facts that we know, will be raised in the federal prosecution. So this is not a surprise at all.
Yeah, and Tony Busby said he planned to file about 10 lawsuits in the next week, pretty much before that March 1st deadline, the last day the New York law allows victims to file civil lawsuits despite the expired statute of limitations. So talk to me a little bit about that law, and possibly if that law didn't even exist, would we even be having this conversation right now?
Before she explains that information, how many more lawsuits are going to go on the table before March 1st? As you see, the new year is slowly evaporating. We're now in the second month of the new year, and it will be less than 1 month that anyone can file a lawsuit against Sean Puffy Combs or any other entity that they believe they were violently or sexually assaulted or drugged or whichsoever. You have until March 1st in the state of New York to file a complaint against a said person or persons. So how many more suits will come forward against Sean Puffy Combs in the state of New York before March 1st or by March 1st, or any other public figure, non-public figure? Ooh, Lord have mercy.
So with respect to that law, it gives people the opportunity to bring about these lawsuits who have previously been sexually assaulted or abused or have allegations of such, and it allows them to recover damages because of those allegations. So it's almost like a safety net or a catch-all for individuals who have had these experiences to be able to come back and litigate or to get some sort of justice in their minds, or judicial justice for these alleged acts that have taken place.
Now, back in October, Tony Busby obviously made a lot of headlines when he announced at that press conference that he had more than 100 accusers ready to file their lawsuits against Diddy. And now we're in February. In your opinion, what was the strategy behind dropping a few lawsuits here, a few lawsuits there, instead of just all in one?
I think that over time, people have continued to come forward to say, hey, this was my experience. This is what happened to me, and I'd like to file a suit. Or seek some sort of justice or compensation as a result of what was allegedly done to me. On the other hand, I do think that there are individuals who have also initiated lawsuits that may not be true. They may be frivolous. So it's a little hard to parse between what is real, what is not real. But these are the things that a judge or a jury is ultimately to decide. They are the triers of fact in these cases, and they determine what the facts are as they are laid out in the midst of a trial. And so, it's not a surprise, again, that we have all of these lawsuits. Instead of doing it all in one foul swoop, it may be because, certain people were not prepared to file at that point. Maybe Mr. Busby was trying to keep some in his back pocket. There really could be a number of reasons as to why that took place.
Yeah, a lot of different reasons, possibly a different strategy we'll never know the answer to. And of course, in this new batch of lawsuits, they are Jane and John Doe accusers. They are not using their real name. Do you see that being an issue in the court later on, as we've seen in other cases that involve Diddy and the anonymous accusers?
Brief intermission. When you look at these photographs of his mother, you can see she likes to doll herself up. She always likes wearing blonde wigs, a lot of eyelashes, makeup, heavy makeup, almost like a clown. I'm all for a woman looking nice, dolling herself up at any age. But just looking at these photographs and looking at older photographs of Sean and knowing that he has assaulted somebody, plural, out here, I don't know, just something, the dynamic between he and the mother is off. And they just look like clowns to me. She looks like a painted clown. And that's my opinion at this point. These people, you just don't know people. That's my thought process. You don't know people. You don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know famous people. You don't know anybody. You don't know the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. You date people, you don't know them. You're married to people, you don't know them. Your friends, associates, you don't know them. You don't know what people are doing behind closed doors. Now you do. The cat is out the bag.
I think that ultimately what's going to happen in these cases is they will not remain Jane and John Doe's for the entirety of the case. Maybe one instance, and I don't think there are any child victims or alleged victims in these cases, but at some point I do expect that their identity will likely be revealed. There is also the possibility that some of these cases may settle out, so we may never know who those individuals are. But as a part of the
Now, that's his
defense
mother.
of Mr. Combs in addressing these civil
Lord have
suits,
mercy.
he is going to be aware of who these individuals are. And it's only fair and it's only right because he has to adequately prepare his own defense from these suits.
And of course, we can't talk about Diddy right now without also talking about his federal case. But do you see these lawsuits playing any type of role in the criminal case? Come May, when his trial is set to begin, can federal prosecutors say to the jury, the defendant is facing 50 or however many civil lawsuits, can they even play a role in this criminal matter as well, too?
Only to an extent, and not exactly. So it's a yes and no question. Are the prosecutors aware of these civil lawsuits? Of course they are. Are they parsing through these civil lawsuits to see what, if anything, that they can use for their prosecution against Mr. Combs, or possibly use at trial or to further their investigation, to also possibly bring about a superseding indictment, although we've already seen one come about. They will definitely do that, and they definitely can look at that information to determine how they want to use that in their federal case. However, those things should not come up at a trial. One of the things the defense attorneys are going to do is make what we call a motion in limine to say, hey, judge, there's an allegation or there are allegations in civil suits and things of that nature. We want to make a motion to ensure that the jury does not hear this. It would be unfair, it would be prejudicial. There's the danger that if someone's alleging he acted in one way, shape, or form in these civil suits, that he would also act this way and with relation to the federal prosecution. So to ensure the integrity of the federal case, his attorneys are going to move to keep that information out of the ears and eyes of the jury. One of the things that the prosecution may try to do is say, hey, judge, we want to introduce some of these things because they complete the narrative as to why we're here. They complete the fact that, or what we allege is the fact that, he sexually abused individuals. He engaged in these, sex orgies and did it with individuals against their will. And these echo our allegations. So they may try to bring that about. I think that the judge should keep those things out because it has nothing to do with the federal prosecution. And if it did, then he would have been charged with those things.
And I got to ask, as a criminal defense attorney at this point, after all of these lawsuits have been, in the press, obviously we're covering it here at Law and Crime, in addition to all the documentaries where we're seeing new allegations. In your opinion, again, as a criminal defense attorney, do you see that Diddy can get a fair trial here in New York?
I don't think he's going to be able to get a fair trial. I think that this case has hit, a magnitude of media channels and got to be hiding under a rock to not have some knowledge of what's going on with Mr. Combs. And that's the danger here is that, everybody has heard about this case. Many people have formulated opinions about this case before even getting into that courtroom to hear the potential facts. And we want to ensure that any juror that sits on this case, that they can be fair, they can be impartial, they can take as they hear them coming through in that courtroom or how they hear them presented as evidence. Not what we've heard on TV, not what we've heard in the news or anything like that, or any gossip or anything of those sorts of things. So I think it's going to be difficult. There are, of course, people on the flip side who believe and have faith in Mr. Combs who may also, step into that courtroom, and say, hey, well, I already think he's not guilty. And they're right to do that because until a person is found guilty, they are not guilty. While they're sitting throughout that entire trial, Mr. Combs is deemed to be not guilty until the jury gets back in that jury room to deliberate and make a finding that he is. But I think the difficulty is going to be getting a fair and impartial jury on this.
Yeah, and it'll be kind of interesting to see how this all comes about. Safa, thank you so much for your insight. I always appreciate it. But, of course, I got to ask you a final question. What is your reaction to the government's superseding indictment against Diddy, adding 2 more victims to that indictment?
It's not a surprise. I think most of us in the legal field, we saw that coming, and also in the media, we saw that coming. I was surprised that we didn't have any new charges per se. I know that 2 victims were added, which is not a surprise. Again, because a lot of these things echo civilly what has occurred. And that may have come based off of some of the civil lawsuits. The prosecution could have looked at some of those and said, hey, you know, we can use this individual or this victim as a part of our federal prosecution, and we're going to do.
So I'm going to interrupt there before she ends. So why were there no new charges from these allegations from these different parties? Why was it an amended civil suit? As I told you all before, the charges are still the same, but the indictment has been amended, which means new things have been added on to the indictment, but not new charges. So what I want to know, why are there no new charges? Is it because they don't have the evidence to prove the allegations by these said women and men?
To do just that and file that superseding indictment. Again, surprised that there were no new charges, not surprised that there were new victims. So it's going to be interesting to see what direction this case takes. And not only that, what does that mean for trial this coming May? Will that go forward because now we have a superseding indictment? There could be a delay on that.
Oh, Lord.
And that's very near. We're already in February. That trial is supposed to be slated for May, so I'll see what happens then. Safa, again, thank you so much for your time today.
All right, that was a defense attorney giving her critique on the legal system and Sean Puffy Combs. We're going to go back a little ways. I wanted to show you a picture of Sean in the hospital. He went to the hospital a week or so ago. Right here, you see him with a teddy bear. He allegedly had an MRI conducted on his knee. He's had knee trouble over the years. Allegedly, he ran a marathon, had problems thereafter, had about 4 surgeries in a 2-year span, allegedly. So what happened? What did they find with his knee? Is it only one knee or both? Does he have arthritis in the knees? You know, that's a common thing with knee trouble, arthritis. Will he need knee replacements? What's the recommendation? And someone decided to bring him a nice little chocolate teddy bear, chocolate and fuchsia colored teddy bear, as you see here with him in the hospital bed. What was the purpose of taking him the bear? You know, he can't take it back to the jail. I'm just saying. He also was taken back to his cell after the MRI was conducted. So what are the findings of the MRI? Will the trial go forward in May of 2025, or will there be a delay because of all these new allegations and civil suits? Once again, March 1st is the last day that anyone can file a suit, a claim against, a criminal charge rather, against Sean is March 1st, 2025. You have until March 1st to bring forward a charge against him. Thereafter, it's a wrap. State of New York, March 1st. May, the trial is supposed to start. So we've got March for any new charges. That's the deadline, March 1st. May, the trial is supposed to start. We have new allegations from a man claiming he was drugged, sexually assaulted, 2015, 3 new female accusers. Someone claims that he also dangled them over the balcony. So we got a repeat of some Vanilla Ice, Suge Knight type shit. It just goes on and on. I can't even keep up with all the stories because it's becoming redundant now with the he said and the she said. He did this to me. He filmed this. Every allegation is the same. Sex work, sex trafficking, baby oil, drugging, putting something in a drink, passing of drugs. It's just nonstop. And it's obvious he is an addict. He likes drugs because, as I just told you, when he was arrested in September at the hotel in New York City, there was a woman awaiting him, which naturally he didn't return, and they found drugs in the hotel room. Pink powder in different baggies, which I believe was fentanyl. So he has a problem. He has a major problem. And I don't know how many baggies there were, and I'm not even about to even question it. But as they're saying, his behavior has not stopped. It did not stop even up until the arrest. Last year, still doing freak-offs allegedly, tampering with witnesses January 24. Then September, you get arrested, you got drugs in your hotel room. And you specifically came to New York so you could get arrested because your lawyer told you that you were going to be arrested. And yet you sitting up here whoring around and got drugs in your damn hotel room. He's making sure to still give him a piece of butt, piece of tail, piece of kitty cat, and some drugs. And also they allege another woman was supposed to have been contacted to also meet him in that said hotel room. Will this woman testify in court that she was supposed to be going into the hotel room as well? So that leads people to believe, okay, here we go with this orgy type nonsense that old habits die hard. He's just stuck in a rut when it comes to drugs, alcohol, filming, bisexual sex, homosexual sex, group orgies, solicitation, threats, so on and so forth. He's just a sadist. He's just a nasty black heathen. And I'm sure there are many men, women just like him. They haven't been caught yet. But one thing we've learned about people, they do kiss and tell, and they will tell your business. All I can say is, hell, watch Love and Hip Hop of Atlanta. You can see how people love to talk and tell your damn business about what you're doing behind closed doors allegedly. This is why you have to be careful who you take up with. You have to be careful going to functions, parties, people's houses, taking drinks from people, taking drinks from strangers, because you don't know people. So you go to somebody's house, you need to be very careful taking a drink from him or her. You go to somebody's house, you don't know who else is going to be there, jump out of the closet, knock on the door. You have to be careful because you don't know people. Same thing with bringing someone to your house. They could easily turn on you, sexually assault you. You don't know people. And you could get to know a person for a couple of weeks and then decide to go somewhere alone with him or her and still be hoodwinked and bamboozled, sexually assaulted, drugged. Because that's all this type of behavior is about, sadism. It's about trust, blind trust. Getting you alone and doing what I want to you as I see fit. And that's what this man has been doing, obviously, for 30-something years, is sexually assaulting, drugging, coercion, violence, manipulation, connery, fuckery, transporting people for sex. He's nasty. Underage, rape of children, boys and girls, teenagers. He don't care. He don't even discriminate. That's when you know you're dealing with a diabolical mind. It's bad enough you're a sadist, whether you're raping a woman or a man, but when you're just talking about dealing with children too, and you're dealing with same sex, opposite sex, he don't even care. The only thing left is, what did I tell people? The only thing left with Sean Puffy Combs is bestiality and murder. Checkmate. There's nothing left but screwing an animal and killing someone. That's where we're at right now. So I wait to hear that too. He's been having sex with animals. Why not? Because you're sexually overcharged or something wrong with you. You've got to have sex with something. He don't care. So like I said, if you can have sex with children, have sex with men and women, you would have sex with a dog. What's the difference? You have a problem. You have a mental problem. And then you're drugging him. So that can lead to death. Duh. You want a person incapacitated. That's like sleeping with a dead person. Come on with it. See, I bet you ought to think about that. You want to drug a person for what reason and then have sex with them? One, you can have your way with them and do things to them that they may not want you to do. Get a jolt out of it, film it to show you're in control. But it also shows a sicker side that might be you like sleeping with dead people. Come on with it now. I'm woke. Are you woke? That's my commentary. Hello, Hannah. 2-part live. Megan Boswell standing trial here in East Tennessee for the murder of her baby girl, Evelyn Boswell, who was 15 months old at the time of her disappearance. And that trial will resume on Monday. Feel free to go back to the beginning of this live stream to get that said update. I'm bringing you day 3 and 4 recap. And then there's Sean Puffy Combs. He has new accusers bringing forward allegations of rape, abuse, coercion, sex trafficking, drugging. And the source is Law and Crime and Court TV for that said information. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $McAngie129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome to the live stream. Follow me on the Newsbreak app. Download the app. You'll get breaking news in your area, United States and abroad. And you also can look for me on that network because I also have similar commentary pertaining to Sean Puffy Combs, Wendy Williams, and also other breaking news. I have 3,000 plus videos and shorts in the YouTube queue for your enjoyment. This network, we talk about politics, catfishing, sports, entertainers, Everything you can think of, we talk about, and even a little bit of true crime. Thank you for your time, everybody. God bless all of you. You have been listening to the Vault XL. Be safe. Tonight at 6:30, the Chiefs will be playing the Philadelphia Eagles in New Orleans. Please be safe. If you want to drink, get a designated driver to and fro. Beware of your faculties. And also, if you're going to be around a bunch of strangers, make your own damn drinks. Don't let anyone hand you a drink. If you're going to be in a bar tonight or at someone's house you don't know, you're not familiar with, you sense something hanky-panky getting ready to go down, ease yourself out of there and run like hell. That's my recommendation, because right now, this is the day where a lot of people are going to be turned up, drunk. There'll probably be some people act out and act a damn fool. So just be aware of your faculties. And if you sense that something's not right in the company that you are in, please kindly remove yourself. And if need be, if you have to go to the authorities, if you see something that's unsavory or illegal, God forbid, contact your local authorities. Just saying, because you don't know people. And right now, we have a lot of dirty folks out here. So tonight is game night, Super Bowl night. Be safe. Just be aware of your faculties, ladies and gentlemen. Please be safe, everybody. And be safe navigating New Orleans. They do have a lot of high crime down there. So please be careful. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for listening to the Vault XL. Thank you.